Am I on? Are we still here? Are we still not canceled yet?
Oh yeah, you're still here.
All right. Well, I appreciate everyone joining us yet again for our third episode. This is so much fun. I don't think you guys realize how much fun this is, to be able to just talk about things outward and openly to everyone in the planet for you guys to judge accordingly. That's fun. I like it. I want to start off with something I talked about last week. If you haven't seen that episode, I always suggest you go back and look at it. Make sure that you're going on the We the People podcast network on Facebook. Make sure you're clicking like so you can get subscribed. You can see all the different videos and little snippets from the videos as well. And something I talked about last week was being seen and putting yourself out there for the world to judge. Thereby, you're showcasing the true you inside, and allowing others to not only see the real you, but for potential members of your tribe to be drawn to you organically. Now, I want to expound on that because that's a topic all in itself. And if you don't know about tribe, we're going to get into that in a little bit as well. Or if you haven't heard of that term being used like that, we can get into that as well. But it comes from my favorite author, Seth Godin. Seth Godin, if you haven't heard about him, definitely go read one of his books. Austin, you've heard of Seth Godin?
No, I never have.
He is a marketing dream. All right, this guy, he is amazing. Definitely look up his books. Tribes is one of my favorite books of his, but he claims that this is something that's crazy about him. He claims he has multiple books. He does podcasts. He had like a couple years where he posted on his blog every single day. He claims that he never looks at reviews for his books or podcasts. He doesn't look at them. Doesn't pay any attention to them. Whether they're good or bad, he does not pay any attention to them.
Oh, I don't think I'd have the fortitude for that.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, because he gave a reason. In his own words, he said, most of the negative feedback and criticism that you receive in your life will not be helpful. Will not be helpful because it's simply one person saying, you are not for me.
Sure. All right.
You are not for me.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in perspective for a little bit for people out there. I'm sure you all get it, but me, I'm a steak lover, right? Did I lose my signal here?
Yeah, sorry. Just hit the button.
I'm a steak lover. If I were to go to a, vegan restaurant and I was not happy about the lack of Delmonico steaks, strip steaks,
sure,
and I leave a 1-star feedback for that restaurant owner, in what world would we want that restaurant owner to change their entire menu for me, right? I am not the person they are catering to.
Why doesn't every place have steaks though, Jose?
Look, first of all, I love steak. I don't know if I said that a million times already. I'm a big steak lover. But anyone wants to please my heart, give me some steak. Yeah, but medium rare only. But again, don't pay any attention to the negative reviews out there. I mean, he says he doesn't look at the positive ones either, but don't pay any attention to the negative out there because most of those people who are speaking up loudly, who are being negative about you, who are leaving comments on there, which of course no one would ever leave a bad comment on my podcast because it's amazing.
Yeah, of course.
We know it. Dan Rice knows. Most of the people who are leaving negative comments, remember, they're speaking more about themselves than they are about you. When I first started getting into being out in the limelight, being in politics and being out in the open, being in public eye, those kind of things I don't want to say they got to me, but they certainly made me spend time thinking about them. And I can assure you that was wasted time because those people who spoke some really gnarly, disgusting things, right? Some just flat out disgusting things. I am not for them. That's all they're saying to me. I am not for them. And that's okay. I don't need to be for everybody.
Exactly. You're a vegan restaurant.
I am not a vegan restaurant. I am a steak restaurant. But I just want to expound on that from last week. Let's get into some stuff that kind of appeals to more of the broader audience, some things that's been happening in this country. I don't know if anyone saw this or heard this the other day, what President Biden said about if you were to go up against the United States government, you would need F-15s and atomic bombs to beat them, right?
Yeah.
You heard about that.
I did not hear about that, but you know what? That follows.
That's first of all, it kind of got people by surprise because we know how the media sometimes is. And if that were a previous president, they would have had a field day with that person, right?
Oh, sure.
But the fact that President Biden said that, you know, and the Second Amendment, it's always a tough conversation to have because there's people out there who have gone through and had to deal with a lot of the negative aspects of it, where maybe they lost someone they love, a child that they had, to gun violence, and that's always extremely sad. And I feel for anyone out there who's lost a family member, or friend, or loved one to gun violence. It's never okay. It's never okay. But the Second Amendment is in place for a reason. It protects your right to keep and bear arms, right? That's what it says. You know, why were we given this right? Let's go back to our forefathers, right? They knew that with political power comes greed. And if people have the right, they have the right, inherent right, God-given right to stand up for what they believe is right against a tyrannical government. And we never want to be that country. And I know a lot of people see or claim that we're kind of headed down that way. I truly hope that's not true. I truly hope it's not true. But our amendments, our rights, our Bill of Rights, the Constitution, all that means a lot to me, and we need to fight for it at any given time. The Second Amendment is supposed to be a form of check and balance against our federal government, since the men in charge of a federally armed force. Like, I'm a prior military veteran. I'm a proud military veteran. I got a Ruck for Rock shirt. We had some marches back in the day. It was fantastic. But the forefathers never intended for us to have a federally manned army. We were supposed to be a militia, right? We were supposed to have pretty much everyone in the country who was willing and able would be part of a militia, and they would have the right to bear arms so that they can protect themselves, their family, their friends from the federal government. And so when the president says that we would need nuclear weapons to defeat the federal government on our own soil, best believe, and this is my own personal opinion, I love our rights, right? Best believe that means you are well within your right to have a high capacity magazine or whatever gun of your choosing. I'm sorry, I know people say that, you know, you don't need 100 rounds to kill a deer. Well, the forefathers weren't talking about the right to bear arms to hunt. That's not what they were talking about. They were talking about the right to bear arms to keep yourself, your family, your loved ones, and to defend your country and be safe from a overreaching federal government. Now, this is not me saying let's go out there and, you know, attack the Capitol. That is not what I'm saying. That was wrong. What I'm saying is, if the government's coming after you, you know, and you see that they're going down this tyrannical route of where, you know, Stalin and Hitler and where they went down, where they were just yanking people out of their houses and taking them to concentration camps, you know, the very worst of it all. You have a right to bear arms, and you have a right to defend your home. So I don't like what the president said about that one. Let's go on to the next topic, though, which I believe is insane. It's insane. Pull up the article on the first article for the Olympics, please. Can we talk about this for a minute? Because I am living in a bizarro world.
Yeah.
Austin, this boggles my mind that people don't understand where this is headed to. So we see the first one where Laurel Hubbard, born a man,
yes,
is transgendering.
Wait, is that?
But they're
I
not
don't know.
genders anymore. So what are they transing from? What are they transitioning from? If gender is fluid, what are they transitioning from? So they're gonna have to change that word at some point.
I know.
So I'm trying to help them a little bit here,
Yeah.
try to send them down the right path to make it sound at least.
You know, CNN still uses transgender. I see here, just looking at this article. So I'm gonna say that one's still safe.
Right. So if you're transitioning from one gender to another, that means there's two genders. All right. Let's keep it simple here. Laurel Hubbard was a man, born a man, raised as a man, and is qualified for Olympics as a woman weightlifter. Okay.
And she previously competed as a man. Like that,
right?
It says, right here in this article, New Zealand weightlifter who was born and competed as a male.
Right. So she now has the. Oh my God, this is such a. I can't believe this is a topic for the Olympics. Right. Scroll back up. Let me see the other one again. The next article. This is a transgender runner. She's ruled ineligible to compete. I'm saying she because I want to be respectful for this person.
Absolutely.
But
this
was another one.
Yeah. If they want to live as
don't care.
I'm
have at it.
Yeah. My personal take is that as long as it doesn't negatively affect anybody else, I don't care.
Right. Now this is negatively affecting some people.
Yeah. Imagine being the silver medalist.
Dude. Can you imagine you were supposed to have a free ride to college and you lost it to a man that is transitioning? Biological man.
Yeah.
That is this runner, the runner there, CC Telfer. She's again ineligible because her hormone levels.
Mm-hmm.
The hormone levels were too high. I mean, that means
yeah, that's the qualifying factor they keep using, right? Is the testosterone levels?
Your T levels are too high.
Yeah.
Laurel Hubbard is a big ass freaking girl.
Yes.
Right? She's a big dude. Like bigger than me, for sure.
So she transitioned as an adult. So she was a fully developed adult male.
Right.
So and no amount of hormones are going to shrink those hands or change that bone structure.
This is bizarro world. Okay. This is not okay. And I'm telling you what's going to end up happening. Okay. This is where I give you the future. I'm the future teller. I'm the fortune teller for the Olympics here. Olympics is going to go back to I don't want to say the good old days because that's wrong to say. It's going to go back to the old days where it was only men competing. Because they're going to say, you know what? No more women's hurdle. It is going to be person hurdle.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, the people who argue against this, like, why are there gender different sports to begin with?
What did you fight for?
If there's not a biological difference.
Women, stand up.
Yeah, right.
Stand up. You fought for the chance to be in Olympics not against men. You fought for a chance to just be in the Olympics, to be seen, to be able to have your own category so that you didn't have to compete against men. That's what the Olympics were back in the day. It was all men. Only men were allowed to compete in their own sports. You are putting us back to that point now by not speaking up. And I shouldn't be speaking up for women because, again, men are proving that they are better. I'm going to say it. Men are better women than women because they won Woman of the Year. They're winning Olympics as a freaking women.
Well, yeah.
Stand up. You got to see this is crazy. You got to see this is wrong. I don't care if a trans person wants to. I don't care. But you need to compete against men.
Yeah, I mean, I think the athletics thing, I mean, that's really the only one that I'm hung up on. Basically anything else, if you want to live,
because you're not competing, you're not representing your country and winning medals based on that. Like, do you understand what the rest of, I mean, this is crazy. This is so crazy. I'm not saying trans people are crazy. Someone's going to take that clip and make it into something. Look, I am friends with trans people, gay people, LGBTQ. None of that matters to me. I don't care. But I'll be straight as hell with them and say, if a woman were good enough, she would be able to compete against men in the men's sport. Sure. The reason why there's female sports is because they need to be held into the same standards of other females. That's why superstar female athletes are freaking dope. They're dope. Venus Williams,
of course,
one of my favorite sports athletes. Actually, I think statistically the greatest sports athlete ever.
Sure. Oh, she's incredible.
But I would love to. I put her up against a man. And I would like to see what happens. I would hope she whoop his ass. So I would love to see Venus Williams. I would love that'd be a win for all women. But that is not a transgender male competing against a female. That's
I mean that's.
I don't want to harp too much on that, but I know that's a topic of conversation that a lot of people are having in this country, and I want you to see and hear what it looks like to have a conversation. Just two men. We shouldn't be talking about this. Yeah. There should be two women saying, This is crazy.
Sure.
This shouldn't be happening. Your daughter is out there racing against them, lifting weights again. I don't even know if that's showing fully. Lifting weights against him.
Yeah. I mean, look at the picture of the runner and just how far behind
just not those
other athletes are.
To give him the benefit of the doubt, she did lose actually.
Did she?
Not this. I don't think not this race, but there was two women that did beat her.
Oh, okay.
And they should feel very proud of themselves.
Yeah,
very proud of themselves because this CC Telfer person, competed as a man in college for the first 3 years, transitioned her senior year into a female, and then won the championship. Did nothing for 3 years. Couldn't even compete for 3 years.
Yeah.
Couldn't place for 3 years.
Yeah. Yes, I remember hearing about this.
Let's go to the next one. We're going to keep on the Olympics topic here. Let's go to the next slide here. Gwen Berry, you are a disgrace to America. I'm going to say it. I'll say it. Why are you there? Why are you there? If you're going to turn away from the American flag while the national anthem is playing, don't compete to represent our country. Don't go.
Yeah, I think like this is even more egregious than anything in like the.
I'm angry about this one.
Yeah,
like this is. If you heard in my freaking voice, I'm rad about this. When I saw this, anger, and it shouldn't. I shouldn't have to feel that way. I shouldn't feel it. Her doing that doesn't do. It shouldn't affect me this kind of way. But being a military veteran, being a absolute lover of this country. Gwen Berry, name me another country that's better for African Americans than America. Name me one other country that is better for African Americans, blacks, whatever terminology you want to use. Name me one other country that is better for you than America.
I got nothing.
I know. I would sit here and hold my breath and I'll end up dying because there's no way they're going to come up with anything. People from other countries escape to come to America. I've never seen one person escape to leave America. Trust me, we won't stop you. Gwen Berry, do your 23andMe, whatever that thing is, find out where you're originally from. Go represent them. Go represent them and beat America in the Olympics. And then you can do something stupid like that. Then you can feel free to shit on us at that point. Feel free to shit on America by beating America. But as you can see, your place on that podium is very low. So go to that country, be a champion over there, and stay over there. Anyways, I tell you what. Is Marcus here?
I'll go
our
check.
Distinguished guest, Marcus C. Williams, who is running for city council in the city of Rochester. I look forward to this conversation because he has been very vocal, very outspoken about some things that are happening locally in the city, but is very much so happening across our country. And the best part is, I shouldn't say best part is, but the fact is he is African American. He's black. I'm gonna ask him what his choice of adjectives is. I don't know if he's here. He's always late to things. All right, I knew it, and I said to him like 3 times today, "Don't be late. Don't be late." It's what's called color folk time. I run on it as well sometimes. My family, all Latinos, they're terrible. They're terrible with it. Absolutely terrible with it. So don't take that as anything other than me making fun of my own family. Got him? Oh, yeah. Marcus C. Williams. This is my second time seeing him today. We had a discussion earlier as well. But what is that? What's around your neck?
Oh, this is a mask because when you get in a lift, they require you to wear a mask.
They still do that? That's still a thing?
Yeah. And I got 2 lifts canceled on me, I guess, because of where my neighborhood is.
Well, let's not get into it quite yet. We're gonna get into all the topics of conversation here today. But we got your camera on you. Yep, I see you there. Got your water. You want anything else? Like, I'm gonna open this up. You want anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
I'm gonna open up because I always have my podcast when I talk with my distinguished guests here. I like to share it over a drink because that's how I know that we've had a moment in our life where we shared something together. And we share your water. I'm sharing my drink. Austin, Massachusetts over there has got his drink. And we're going to have a conversation now. And this is going to be, I hope this is going to be a straight in your face conversation about some things that people in our city are talking about. They are probably talking about it behind the scenes more because they're too afraid to have the truthful conversations. But here I am, a Latino. Here you are. You consider, what are you, Black or African American?
I prefer Black.
All right. Black man, Puerto Rican man, having a conversation about some shit that's going on in our country.
That's right.
You ready for this? Are people ready for this? Are you guys ready out there? We are worldwide here. All right. We are worldwide on this podcast. So my first question is going to be, talk to us about what makes Marcus C. Williams the person that you are today. What made you believe the things that you believe in today? What makes you make decisions the way that you make decisions? What guided your principles in life? Talk to me really quickly about that, and we're going to dive into some things after that.
All right. So I was raised in the church. I was raised mostly by my grandmother, strong Black woman. She raised me most of my life. And I have a family history that involves very richly in the military. I'm a business owner, an entrepreneur. I literally started with next to nothing. Okay. And I believe in the American dream, and I believe in definitely doing for yourself, because there's no real way that you can rely on the government to get you to where you want to be.
So talk to me about how you are oppressed today. Since you just brought up a couple of things, talk to me about oppressed.
Well, you know what?
Today,
I've been very oppressed today because the sun is just so oppressive.
It's just beating.
It's just beating me down all day long. Well, that's actually a very interesting conversation, because right now you've got all of these conversations about CRT, critical race theory, and stuff like that, where they're portraying this whole idea and concept that Black people in America are being oppressed, when the actual case is right now being Black in America is probably the best time to ever be Black in America. You can almost most definitely, if you apply yourself, achieve something in America today, more so than any other time, given the history of our country.
Ooh, speak that truth. Speak it.
That's right. And if you really look at it, and I think this is concerning when people talk about things like CRT that teach that Black people are oppressed and that white people are the oppressors, all that is white supremacy in action. That's all that is. Right there, they're teaching you that you're not able to achieve more, that you're not able to do more. So it sets the bar very low for you. And if you don't have the bar set high, why would you aim high? And this is something that we really need to have a conversation about, that a lot of people in America don't talk about. I mean, look at all of the great African Americans that have actually made great contributions to our nation. Benjamin,
are we allowed to talk about those?
No, are we? No, because being Black, growing up Black, okay. We've talked in my family and amongst my community members, people that look like me, for years and years and years about more representation in schools and in the history books and stuff like that to talk about the great contributions of African Americans and blacks, or however you consider yourself, Aboriginal, whatever, in America.
Right.
So right now, when we have that time, when people are starting to listen to get the ear of Black people, we don't actually have that representation. They're actually taking this representation from us, talking about, oh, it might hurt somebody's feelings, or oh, it might make somebody feel bad if you talk about that, when people like Garrett Morgan, you've got Ernest Just, I mean, it's just so many famous African Americans that have contributed so much. You know, we've got astronauts, we've got doctors, we've got scientists, we've got Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Dr. Ben Carson,
you
who
know,
was through, man, they ran him over to freaking coals.
Oh man,
that man should be, if anyone were to have a statue made out of them, it should be Dr. Ben Carson.
Wait, Black people can get statues now? I mean, they're so concentrated on tearing down statues. I haven't seen one go up for us that is a Black person that has actually added to something productive in America, like science, technology, math, engineering, anything like that.
It's funny because the fact is they are trying to tear down these statues based on the person's history, right? Their background, where they came from, how they grew up, the time and place where they grew up, blaming them for multiple different reasons, and saying we need to tear down the statue because Nathaniel Rochester, would he own slaves, I'm guessing, right?
Oh, well, this is what I've heard, you know. I mean, he was such a terrible person that they're going to rename the school that is named after him, because that's the highest priority for the RCSD right now. You know, not the missing money, not the fact that we have an extremely ridiculous proficiency rate, not that the graduation rate is much better. You know, I mean, it's just all of the things that the city school district could focus on right now. That's the thing.
Well, speaking of proficiency rate, Austin, Massachusetts, where's that picture for the school out in, where is it, Wyoming or something like that? We can talk about that real quick. I think it's pretty crazy. Yep, Oregon. Oregon students shouldn't have to prove they can write or do math to get a diploma.
You know, I heard that math was racist.
I heard math was racist too. I heard that coming to it, you just made Austin choke. Yeah, I heard that showing your work in a math problem is racist. How do you feel? Well, are you triggered by math?
You know, let me say this about showing my work. When I was little, I hated showing my work because I could always get I was advanced as far as that type of stuff goes. And I just felt like showing my work was a waste of time. Okay.
I feel you.
But here's the thing. Math is not racist. Do you know how many great mathematicians and scientists that there are that were Black? Like, I mean, like,
no, we're not allowed to talk about that.
If anything, Black people excel at math when they're able to see that they can apply it. Okay. When you actually make them interested in it and show them, say, hey man, you can do great things with this, but you know, you nobody wants to do great things with math anymore. You know, that's just hard and complicated.
So that brings up another topic there. And I'll be honest with you. I usually have questions lined up. I don't even have my phone on because I know this is going to be a fantastic conversation because you and I feel very similar about things. And I hope that the people that follow me give you their attention, because we're talking about a Black man that lives in the city of Rochester that is overridden with crime and poverty and drugs and gangs. Even though, you know, our PD chief won't say it, I'll say it. We have gangs in Rochester.
Yes. And
they're going crazy on each other. But you brought up something that, you know, showing people how they can be using math. I've talked about in other circles about the entrepreneurship aspect of it, showing people when they get out of jail. Look, what you learned on the streets, it can be converted to the more legal path, right? Yeah. You were a business owner on those streets, right? If you, let's say the biggest drug dealer, you were a drug dealer. How did you sell? You bought product, right? You bought it at a cost.
That's right.
You broke it up, you split it out, and you hired employees to sell for you on street corners, and they worked all day, every day, right?
Exactly.
That's a business. No matter what anyone says about it, that is a business. And if we could teach these guys that, hey, you had a multi-million-dollar corporation and you can't fathom the idea that you could have been legal and making legal money and created a generational wealth.
Well, wait, are you actually talking about preventing recidivism? Is that something that you're talking about? Because that's a conversation that, nobody wants to have.
No, we're just supposed to just let them all out.
How come there's no jobs lined up? Where is the housing that's lined up for people when they come out? And you wonder why people go right back to doing the same things. Do you know how difficult it is if you have a record or if you're just getting out of jail to find a job? How many jobs can deny you before you go back to doing crime, the same crime you were doing, or something worse?
Right.
Where are the connections?
It's usually dishwasher, cook, warehousing, which is, we're not saying those are bad jobs by any means, but when a person was making thousands of dollars a day, and now they're going to wash dishes for some fast food joint, they have to go home and be around their friends and family who saw them at one point, see them now. Do you think they're going to see them in the same light as before? And do you think they're going to stay in that position for very long?
Absolutely not. And you look at it. So when you go to jail or you go to prison and stuff like that, there are different programs, and some educational and some on job training and tooling and stuff like that. So the question is why don't they develop that into a job connection directly from prison instead of like they have the school to prison pipeline? Why don't they have the prison to career pipeline? Like, where is that? Why are we lacking that? And if we want to cut down on crime and we want to prevent it from the future, we have to prepare them for life after jail, life after prison, like
societal life. Living in a society where you are paying taxes.
Can we teach them civics too while they're in there? Can we do that?
I don't think we're allowed to teach civics anymore. So the drug problem and the gang problem. Now, it is, from my understanding, and this is how I see things, and I've seen that the far left, the far liberals who are saying, they talk about the homicide rate, not only the homicide rate, but they talk about how many crimes are not being solved by RPD, especially homicides. In my opinion, it feels as if the police, number one, they can't solve crimes when they don't have any eyewitnesses. Or number two, they can't solve crimes when the person that they were looking for was doing a retaliatory freaking killing of somebody. And then it turns around and they get a retaliatory gun down. So if they keep killing each other, how do you solve homicides when the people who are killing each other are you can't solve it when a person's dead, right? So give me your insight on the homicide rate in our city. And it is a city that is much like many other cities where they see homicide rates are just skyrocketing right now. How do you see the homicide rate, and how do you talk to your friends and family about policing in our city?
Well, I mean, like most everyone in America, we see that there is definitely a need for the police to work on certain reforms in the way that they perform policing. I mean, that's a given. I mean, if you even talk to police officers, they're like, yeah, man, there's definitely some things that we should work on. But here's the deal, and trying to keep it straight and even. Most people want criminals to be in jail. They want them to actually have repercussions and punishments for the crimes that they're out here committing on the street. Because most people in our society are law-abiding citizens for the most part. Like, they like to be able to go to the store. They like to let their kids play outside. They don't want to be scared walking to their car from their house in their driveway. Like, I mean, when it comes down to the crime that we're witnessing right now, a lot of it comes from many different parts, some of it from bail reform, but let's not even talk about bail reform, right? That's a state level.
Do we got
issue.
2 hours today, or
I know, right? But we see a lot of stuff that the police are just told, like, don't police there, don't do this, and they don't get the support that they need. And a lot of our elected officials, unfortunately, talk very passionately about abolishing the police, which is completely getting rid of them. Don't let them tell you something different.
Right.
Or defunding the police, which, if you look up what defunding means, it means taking away enough of the money so that they're not able to perform their job whatsoever. Okay. So when you look at that, if there are no police, that means that nobody's going to lock up or punish the criminals. police being in an area, just being there is a deterrence, because if there are police in an area, there people are less likely to commit crimes. Why? Because they see the police are like, oh, you know what? There's a chance that I might go to jail.
That I might be held accountable for my own actions.
Oh, wait, accountability? Is that something that we can talk about today?
But there's many people out there, and I say many people, even though I mean very few, who would say that the sight of the police incites anger and violence in them. Does the sight of police incite anger and violence in you?
No. I mean, honestly, I like to see the police, because if I see the police, it means that there's most likely going to be less crime than there would possibly be. You know, and let's be honest. What are the police doing? They're not coming and harassing me because I'm not out here doing anything to be harassed for.
Or hanging out with people who are doing stupid stuff.
I mean, and being a black man, I've had issues with the police, you know, doing stuff that they have no business doing. I had a incident one time when I lived on the Northwest, and I was standing.
Don't talk about the Northwest. Don't talk about the Northwest.
Me and my friends stopped and for a second, and the police rolled up, and I guess they assumed that we were doing something nefarious. And me, never in my life. I've been working since I've been 14. Okay. So we were out there, we were talking, and the police pulled up, and he was like, oh, you know, get off my sidewalk. Now, I wasn't thinking, you know, I'm like, who is this mother sucker here with as much as I work, as much taxes as I pay, you know, and then something ensued over that. But and that's not the only issue that I've had with police. I've had other issues, but in general, my interactions with police have been generally positive. I like interacting with the police because I like there to be a reasonable reason and expectation that when I go home, my stuff will still be in my house. You know, I mean, just simple things like that.
Yeah. So what do you say to, you are a candidate for city council. And right now we have two people on city council who came from the Free the People Rock, who have blatantly come out and stated that just last year, they stated that they want to abolish police. And then, 6 months ago, they said, well, we just want to defund police. And now they say they want to reform police. Do you believe they want to reform police, or do you believe in their first assertion that they want to abolish them?
They want to abolish them. They've said it publicly on more than one occasion. And I've spoken with most of them on more than one occasion without naming any individuals. Here's the thing. Everybody wants police reform. Everybody,
even police.
They're not talking about anything new. But once you start talking about abolishing, and oh, by the way, I don't know if you've seen some of their campaign victory speeches online.
Oh, I have.
Where they reiterated the call to abolish the police.
I got multiple, messages immediately after.
Oh my goodness! Like, it's just terrible, and I feel bad for. Excuse my language. Let me not say I feel bad.
Dude, this is my podcast. All right, you say what you want.
You know, it's ridiculous to me that people are missing what they're actually saying, and then they try to make it sound flowerful. And when they do that, they're misleading you. And I try to explain to people, like, you are being misled. And people will say, oh, no, well, you want this, you want that. And I'm like, you really want to pick up the phone and say, hey, police, I need you to come. And them to be like, oh, no, we're sending a social worker to your shooting where they've just shot 5 people.
Or the husband that's beating the wife.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure that'll go.
Because I was told a police officer going to that makes the man angrier and beats his wife more.
Well, where were the violence interpreters last night?
Interpreters. Oh my God.
At the Walmart incident. Where were the violence interpreters?
Show the video. Awesome. Look at that timing right there. Let's get the video going. And make sure you click on the camera button every once in a while, because it does this one. This one right here, like you're shooting a picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Cool. You guys might want to put on your headphones though, if you want to hear the video.
I totally forgot about the headphones. Look, I got so deep into it.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
First of all, why are they out there? Why would you want to be in a Walmart? Why? Why would you want to be in the parking lot of a Walmart late at night?
Because you want to hang out. You want to get together with everybody else and, just be a part of something. Something ridiculous, unfortunately.
Ridiculous is right. I've counted at least 25 shots already.
Oh, yeah.
I hear the ATVs.
Yeah,
Clear as day.
You know, you've got the ATVs, you've got the mopeds. I mean, you've got.
How do you feel about those? You know, I wrote the legislation for that took 3 months to get passed. God knows why. Well, how do you feel about that? What was your opinion on the ATV and the dirt bike legislation? And if for the worldwide people out there that don't know, our city is a city, right? We have about 206,000 people here. It is a legitimate city with a downtown. We don't live in Hoboken, New York, right? So driving an ATV and dirt bike down the street causes confusion. It makes people take their eyes off the road, and then they start looking at you. And not only that, they're blocking red lights. They're going through the red light. They're making you stop from your green light so that all their buddies can go. And they just act like they rule the freaking town.
Well, but they do. It's like roving gangs in Mad Max or something like that. It's disappointing, because then people make the case. They say, well, people want to get on the mopeds to enjoy them. They don't know what else they can do. It's keeping them from committing other crimes. And
that is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, didn't you just see the video? I mean, how many of those people in those groups were riding mopeds and stuff like that? Or how about bathtub billies, which is no longer where they are anymore?
Yeah, no longer in the Northwest. Thank you for bringing that up.
I mean, it's just, and you look at this and you say, okay, well, pause. Well, what about electric bikes? What about electric scooters? Which we also need to work on the legislation for that. Can we do something about that? Because it's still not technically legal to own those. But that's a whole nother.
We can talk about that.
It's another separate conversation. Go ahead.
You're right. You heard the ATVs. You heard the dirt bikes. These are things that these bicycle gangs, Dan Rice just said. These are things that they said, hey, keeps us out of trouble. Obviously, it does not. Obviously, at this point, and they're going to say, well, you can't see that they were ATVs. You can't show that there were ATVs there, right? We know what an ATV sounds like.
Yes.
We're not stupid. Dan Rice also says, first question I ask people who want to abolish police is what their address is. If they won't call it police, they're the first people I'm robbing when all this breaks down. Yeah, man. Look, when people were talking about defunding police and they didn't want police in their neighborhoods, from city council perspective, I asked them, let me have your police officers then.
I've said the same thing. I mean,
let's have them. Bring them over here. We'll take them.
Wherever you don't want them, Cobbs Hill in the better upper crust neighborhood, 14621, you know, the NATO area, wherever. If you guys seriously don't want your police, I promise you, my neighborhood, my community would really appreciate that. And we'll work with you. We'll work with you to take your police if you really, really honestly don't want them, because we definitely would like more of them.
How do you feel about the white liberals who speak for you? First of all, they speak for you.
I wish they'd stop.
All right, okay. And second of all, when you don't fall in line with their opinion of what your group of people should think, they go after you.
Oh, it's the most racist thing in the world. I swear.
Thank you. I've called them that many times. I said, you don't tell me what I should be thinking. You are a racist for telling me as a Latino male what I should be thinking because I'm Latino. Don't group me into one group think, because that is racist.
Yes. I mean,
I'm getting angry again, Austin.
I've many times been made to feel like I'm not the right type of black.
Right.
You know, I mean,
I'm not the right type of Latino.
Listen.
Are you adjacent? Did they ever call you adjacent black?
Oh my God.
They call me adjacent white.
I get all types of names. I get the most racist names called to me from people who say that they are pro-black or they are for black
inclusive
people or inclusive or Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
These are the ones
Black
who are
Lives
the
Matter,
real
Black
racist.
Voices Matter.
It's insane. Like, I mean, I've dealt with actual stated racist people more who call me less racist names.
Right. Who've given you more respect.
Give me more. Right. Like, I mean, it's insanity. And I really wonder where our nation is going. That if you do not fall into these one certain categories that, remember, white liberals want you to fall into.
Right. They need you to fall into.
They need you to. They need you. And it's crazy because to me, they're warping the mind and the mindset of our people. And our people, unfortunately, most of them are so revved up and have so much existing hostility, animosity, and they feel done so wrong that they'll just go along with whatever is being said. And I like to point out that most of the people pushing this are white. You've got the white people telling you what racist is. Like that to me, like, how can you even go for that? Like that to me is insane. Like it's just, didn't Malcolm X warn Black people?
I was just about to ask you if you knew what Malcolm X said about white liberals.
They're the most dangerous.
The most dangerous.
Yes.
How do people not remember? I mean, I know it's a lot of younger kids who are doing this, a lot of the younger generation that's doing this, and they just have no grasp on the reality of what history has told us about communism, socialism, white liberals. Like, these are things that have been brought up in the past before, and we have been warned about, and we've seen a complete deterioration of society. But yet,
now, to be fair to any white liberals listening out there, it's not all of you.
There you go.
However, it's too many of you, and it's a lot of you that tend to, and if you are white liberal, you'll see this, that tend to lean socialist or lean communist or call themselves social democrats, which isn't a thing, which is a whole nother conversation, or probably for a different podcast. But
I'll have them on.
It's really, really mind-wracking when you see people who are statedly, openly anti-American, anti-American values, and don't want. Where are the white liberals telling you about financial literacy? Where are they about telling you that you should start your own business and not depend on the government?
Or home ownership. They're too busy out there.
Wait, home ownership? is that a thing? I mean, Black people are so oppressed. Of course, oppressed people shouldn't own homes, right? Yeah. Isn't that what they're telling you?
Well, you will own nothing and you will like it, right?
Exactly, because the government will provide everything and anything that you need until you want a little more. Because if they give everybody one scoop of gruel and you want two, oh, no. That's just too much. You know, and what comes with that, honestly, that people don't look at, all of these socialist and communist things, is that the government has so much control. They can take anything that they want from you at any given time. Anything that you consider private property, that's another thing, right? You won't have any private property. Yeah, exactly. So they come and they'll take it from you whenever they get the chance, whenever they feel like, oh, and don't say something against them. Don't stand up for your rights or your liberties or your freedoms.
Or have podcasts that
don't talk about your constitutional rights or anything like that.
I already did. You're late. I talked about the Second Amendment. Talk to me about your beliefs in the Second Amendment.
First of all, can we talk about the Second Amendment laws in the city and how they are like so ridiculous? What a rifle in the city? No, just in the city.
Okay,
like just
talk about
the city ordinances. Okay, like first of all, no gun shops in the city, no shooting ranges in the city. No rifles.
I haven't thought about that.
No rifles in the city. Like, what's up with that? Like, yeah, bro.
There's a law against that.
There's all types of ordinances that are.
You're gonna have to show me this because
they all need.
You can't shoot rifle. I think you can't shoot.
You can't shoot rifle.
Okay, all right. I'm about to say. I think I'm going to jail tomorrow.
But there's also, if you read it, it gets very hairy.
Okay.
So that's a problem, and they need to be repealed.
Hey, I'm about that. Let's go. Show that to me, because there's some things about that. Hey, I tell everyone, speak up, because when you have an issue, you don't want to wait until it's already in legislation, or it's a legislation that you have an issue with. You don't want to wait until you have to deal with the repercussions of being enforced.
Oh yes,
let's talk about it before.
And
Barbara Baldwin must know your name so she can vote for you in the general election. Now, before you even say anything about that, I am a big proponent of voting the person, not the party. And I know the Democrats hate me for that. They absolutely hate me for that, because you're supposed to say, vote blue or vote down the line or whatever it may be. I'm not about that. I am about vote the person, because each person is different, and we need to have people on our city council, on our state legislator, county legislator, state assembly, where they have differing points of views, so that we can somehow get to a middle ground where we work together and figure it out. That's going to be the best for everybody, not just for the best for the party that's in control. I don't like that. I don't like what is happening right now, where, our Democrats feel as though, okay, we have control, we're going to get away with some stuff. And I didn't like that before with, President Trump either. But go ahead, give her your name and give her what you stand for. What are your top 3 things? Let's limit to 3 things that you want to say. These are the 3 things that matter the most to me as.
Okay. So my name is Marcus C. Williams. I'm running for city council. My whole thing is about saving you money and improving the quality of life in the city. I know that's only 2 things, but it covers a lot. I believe in increasing entrepreneurship, increasing home ownership. I believe in financial education and alternative education because, you know, the educational system that we have now it's not going to get you a job. Man.
I was the only one that voted against it, against the budget. I was the only one that voted against it. And when they asked, I said, if RCSD were actual legitimate business, I'm sorry for cutting you off there.
No,
if RCSD were an actual legitimate business and I were a business owner, there is no way in hell would I keep pouring money into the Rochester City School District with the results that we've been seeing. There is no way.
So I've got a solution for that.
Go ahead.
Okay. So if you don't know about me, I'm about solutions and I do my best to come up with solutions. I like to work with anybody that's willing to work with me to come up with solutions.
Because a lot of people have problems and they don't have no solutions.
Exactly.
So I appreciate that.
I hate that. So for me, the solution for that is to get rid. If you want to abolish something, abolish the school board and replace it with a board of directors with a mandate for proficiency, job placement, and advanced educational placement. That's what we really need. That way we can get results and we can hold them accountable. And until there's accountability, we won't see the results that we need. They'll constantly be pushing the statistics or the damn statistics, right? Which are lies. And that's not where we need to be for the future, because if we don't increase the educational base in our city, our people in the city are not going to get the jobs that are coming out that are advanced. They're not going to be able to buy homes because they won't know how, and they won't be able to have the money to buy houses. I mean, I like that there are some housing programs here now, but if you don't have a job to pay the taxes on your house, you're not going to be able to keep your house. Right. So we need to be preparing for the future today.
That's fantastic. I'm a big fan of Addison Tech, not only because it's in the Northwest, but it provides young kids a way to earn money as soon as they get out of high school. You know, that's, to me, why are we still teaching these young kids to get into debt? Because in the future, you're going to make more money because of a piece of paper.
Right.
Like, at what point do we change it all and say, we need to get kids ready for life?
Well, why would they want to get kids ready for life? Because if kids were actually educated and they were actually ready for life, they might not vote the way that they vote now.
I knew you were going to say that.
What did they say? If you knew better, you'd do better. And of course they don't want that. So one of my big things for education is if I had a wish list and it could be granted for education,
okay, what would it be?
To combine middle school and high school as a curriculum together. Because if you've gone through city schools, you already know that middle school and high school is almost exactly the same thing. It really is. You can be prepared in the middle school for everything you need to do in high school. So high school should be for advanced education and on-job training, so that as soon as you get out of high school, you're ready for job placement, because now you can't wait another 4 or 8 or 12 years to get into the workforce, because there's just not enough opportunity after that. Now you've been out of the workforce this long, then you need the experience, right?
Right.
So now you've been in school for 12 years, you've got this awesome degree, and they're like, we want 5 years of experience, which you don't have.
Right.
So that's definitely something that we need to look into. And
you know who would agree with you there?
Who?
The Amish.
Oh yeah.
Amish, where they stop at 8th grade?
Yep.
Stop at 8th grade. They say everything after 8th grade is just literally on job training. It's you've already learned what you needed to learn.
Exactly. And I mean, how many people do we get out of high school now that aren't even able to read or write? Not able to write.
They don't need to anymore. They just pass laws. You don't need to anymore. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to know anything. You're going to get a universal basic income just for sitting at home.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So,
speak on it.
I've supported universal basic income since before it became popular.
All right.
I may be a futurist, but this is something
like
we're not going to talk about that, but that's another conversation.
I liked him.
So he's got a lot of good ideas.
He's an entrepreneur, man.
So
I respect entrepreneurs who know finance and numbers.
I mean, he really, really, really was somebody that I could vote for. But anyway, that's a
sorry.
That's a separate conversation. So I perceive myself to be a conservative futurist, which means that I know what's brought us to this point, and I understand that some of it should be changed so that we can move into the future.
Mhm.
Okay, universal basic income is a great idea, but you need a source of financing
Right.
for that income. And if you don't have it, it makes it untenable. So you can't just tell people you're going to give them money, because if you just tell them you're going to give them money, you have to create that money.
Right.
And now here you go creating more money. And then you get the issue of inflation, which is something that we're experiencing very heavy right now. They're talking about it's about 6% inflation that we've experienced over the last 6 months.
Do you think they're being honest with that?
I think that they're a goddamn lie.
When do you think? Do you think it's going to implode? Do you think it's going to finally catch up?
Well, they keep telling me.
Or do you think the government, the U.S. government, will always come through like it always has?
Wait, that happened? The government's come through. When did that happen?
2008, 2009. They came through for the bankers.
Well, yeah. I was just gonna say.
I didn't say for the people. I didn't say for the people.
Okay.
I said they came through.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, they've already been doing that, right?
Right.
Billing out businesses and industries that are not performing, are underperforming,
And buying assets themselves
Oh
to
my
keep
God.
Bro, I don't think people are ready.
They're not ready. See, and this is my largest concern. Not to be an alarmist here, but
Let's be honest.
But to be honest, can we talk about global warming, or the global warming that doesn't exist? Okay.
I was wondering where you're going with that.
Regardless of how you feel about it, okay, the climate is changing. We all agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
As it always has.
That's period. So why is everybody pushing this green agenda and saying that we've got to prevent it from heating up another 1 degree? We've got to prevent it from heating up another 2 degrees, instead of preparing for it heating up anyway. Everything shut down last year and the heating still increased.
Oh, that's a good point.
And
we had clearer skies. We had no ozone friggin' depletion or anything like that. And yet we keep, it's not, I mean.
So where's the preparation?
I didn't think about that.
You want to talk about industries, and like I said, I'm a futurist. I'm also an environmental conservationist. So if you got something to say about the environment, I'm the guy to come talk to. Okay. So don't mess up my environment. I need my kids to have a future.
Okay.
All right.
As long as they rake the leaves and the sticks up from the forest, that way there'll be less forest fires.
Oh, don't. We're not going to talk about the forest fires. Okay.
Which was actually proven to be a true statement.
Yeah.
Trump, when Trump said that, they were like on his ass about it.
Well, he said 1 million, and this isn't to say one thing or another about this man, but can we talk about the fact that they've told us that he's been so wrong about so many things, and then he gets out of office, come to find out that almost everything he said has been the truth the whole time?
Look,
it's so concerning.
I went after the first 2 years. I went after President Trump. I went after him, especially when he was throwing freaking paper towels at the Puerto Ricans. Like that was
a bad look.
Right. Well, it was a bad look.
I didn't vote for him the first time.
I didn't.
He told the Russians to hack Hillary Clinton's emails. He's too old and he knows better than that. We're not playing them games.
So I forget what it was specifically, but I watched it and I was like, wait, hold on. That's not what he said. Like I knew what he said. Yeah. I was like, that's not what he said. Is that? And I went back and I watched like a full video. I'm like, that's not what he said. I'm like, why are they saying that? And then I saw it on like every news station, and it took me down this, I hate to say rabbit hole, but it took me down this rabbit hole of holy crap. And now I have to watch both. I watched MSNBC, CBS, whatever, any freaking radio, any TV station. And then I watched like Fox News, obviously right leaning. And the online ones that are, independent ones. It is amazing how different the reporting is between different organizations. Like I see how inept President Biden is. I don't want to say how he looks.
That was generous. So generous.
What would you say? What would you be the adjective you use?
Adjective about Joe Biden?
President Joe Biden, yes. Put some respect on his name.
Is he the president though? Who's running the country right now? I've been trying to figure this out. Like I know he has the title, but with what's going on,
not Vice President Harris.
It's definitely not her. She can't even do her job at the border.
So is this finally showing that the group that has been pushing for things in the entire world? Because now we're seeing that they're talking about they're going to have the COVID of the internet.
No.
We're going to have a virus online that's going to take I think it was like 75 million devices.
Mhm.
It's going to ruin 75 million devices from the internet. Like they have to take it down. The only way they can prevent it from destroying the world is to take them off the internet.
Well, this is where we've been going. Isn't this
But they've been talking, right? They have been talking about this
attention stuff. Look, plus the internet 2.0, that's what we need. You know, the next level of the internet, which is, and I think we're getting into a lot of topics right here, right now in one time.
Yeah, I know, man. We might need a second one. We might need a second because it's 5 o'clock right now, dude. That was a fastest podcast, dude. That was on point.
I didn't even notice it was 5 o'clock. I was just listening to you.
But let me say this about our current president and our current administration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, while I may not agree with everything that they do, or even the majority of the things that they do, I wish them luck. Whoever is the president, I wish them luck because I am a citizen of this nation. On top of that, I am black. So I'm black and American. So there is nowhere else for me to go.
Is there anywhere better for blacks or African Americans than America? Can you name another country?
No. And
Austin, we didn't have to wait for an answer for that at all.
I try to explain this to people. I say, even if you take the example, like we had Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
Like they sent all the blacks, went back to Liberia, and what happened there? It was a travesty. Most of them died, and Liberia has been fighting back and forth. They ended up with a 14-year civil war.
You're talking about stuff I have no idea.
And then they had the lady who was a corruptest president in like the history of the universe. Then they had the soccer player after her who wasn't much better. He wasn't that bad, but he wasn't much better. And they're still in turmoil. So as far as black people being able to achieve anything, why do you think you have people letting their daughters get raped to come into this country? Are you serious?
Woo!
Okay. Like people are letting their children be child trafficked and being turned into sex slaves to come in this country for the hope of a better life. And you're talking about my government is so oppressive. Our country is so oppressive. You don't have any rights. You don't have any freedoms. What are you talking about? Okay, you walk through a desert, okay? You sell all of your possessions to try to get over a border where you're most likely going to be denied because they deny like 98% of the people who apply for asylum and be raped on the way here. Are you serious right now? Like if that is some level of just amazingness that they have faith in America is so much better. As much as everybody here talks about it so bad, they need to go talk to some people from Venezuela. They need to go talk to some people that are coming from Guatemala. How have they not seen these
videos? I'm telling you, there's more videos on TikTok from people from Venezuela and Cuba who are saying when they interview them and say, you know, how do you feel about what's happening? Blah, blah, blah. They're like, this is crazy. Why would they want to go? They say, go to Venezuela, go to Cuba, see how it is, see what socialist. Why do they think that they can do it better than any other leader in the past?
So
we can't get into that. We are out of time. Okay. Man, we're gonna reschedule another one because I feel as though there's gonna be a legitimate amount of people who want to see more. And I wish you luck because it seems as if common sense has made its way out of politics for quite some time.
We need to bring it back. And you guys, please check out my website, www.marcus4rochester.com. Follow me on Facebook.
Spell Marcus for them in case they don't know.
MARCUS, the number 4, Rochester. Hopefully you know how to spell that. .com. So Marcus4Rochester.com. You can also find me on Facebook. It's Facebook /Marcus4Rochester. And you just check me out. Search me, Marcus C. Williams, on Facebook. I'm there. I'm responsive. If you want to pitch in with my campaign, definitely message me or email me, whatever. I'm very responsive. Get in touch with me so that we can actually work to make a difference for our city and for our community so that we can have a better future because, to be honest, we need to restore Rochester.
I believe it. I'm with it. And to end that as well, while you are researching Marcus C. Williams, please research Kanye West and John Leguizamo. I'm still waiting for a call from them. I'm still waiting for a call from them. I want them on my podcast. I want to see both of them right there talking to me. So hit the music. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.